Well, hello and happy Monday to everyone out in America and elsewhere. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. Um, Hope you all had a great weekend. I did. Now it's time to get back to the grind of what's going on in the world. With everybody being kind of, led over to watch Ukraine, Russia, and the lies that they're telling us all about that bit. A lot of the things right here in our own country, which really are the things of major concern. Yes, I know nuclear war would be a major concern. I don't believe that's coming, so I like to concern myself with things that are right here in the backyard as much as I can. What they're going to do over there is beyond my control, beyond your control for the most part. Uh, but we need to keep our eyes on what's going on around here. And the Texas Rangers just did something that I think is extremely interesting. Did I say welcome to all the new people? Welcome to all of the new subscribers, both on YouTube and over on Patreon. I've put a whole bunch of special stuff over on Patreon over there if you haven't seen it. And if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it, is just go and join us over there for $1 or whatever you'd like. And I think you'll like what's over there. The Texas Rangers, the lawmen, not the ball players, were called in Friday to search the offices of Harris County officials in connection with an investigation into possible corruption linked to a contract to provide, drumroll, get ready for this, COVID-19 vaccinations. This is from the Western Journal, by the way. A lot of us who have been inside the system, the healthcare system, all through this stuff, have known of the shenanigans. I use that word a lot. It must be because it's coming up on St. Patrick's Day. We've known about a lot of the very strange things that have happened to make money for hospitals, for doctors, for all sorts of people, for companies, right? For organizations. And it's easy to think that, well, it's not going to go anywhere. Nobody's going to get caught. Nobody anything. Well, who knows? I can't promise that they will. But at least when it seems like things are going in the right direction, we need to pay attention to it. Now, by the way, since this involves the Texas Rangers, a great organization, by the way, the Rangers that I've known, and it's just been a couple, so it's not like I'm big pals with the Rangers or anything, have been top-notch guys. Very serious and very focused, I would call them. So I imagine, once they call on the Rangers, things usually get found out. They are the cream of a very good crop down there out of Texas. So and by the way, at the end of this, because I know that a lot of people, the Rangers, they're an organization. They've been around for a long time. Gosh, I think the 1820s or 30s, something like that. I'm not a Ranger historian. I do write about the Rangers in my books quite a bit, just as a normal part of the story. And in that, I include some facts, some interesting things that many people didn't know. But they're a storied and legendary law enforcement agency, detachment, however you want to call them, organization that's done a lot of good things. And there's one story that I know that a lot of people like to tell, and that's about that one Ranger, one riot story. A lot of people like to tell it. Most people get it wrong. I'm going to tell you the truth at the end of this video. So stand by for that after we read about what the Rangers are doing now. Although officials said that Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo's offices were not searched, computers and phones used by at least 2 staff members were seized, according to the TV station down there. Says a judge signed search warrants, which are legal authorization to search for and seize potential evidence of a crime, said Dane Schiller with the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Out of fairness for all parties involved, we have no additional comment at this time. That's right. But he was saying, well, we have probable cause. We believe that a crime's been committed. That's how you get a judge. And from a guy who's gotten a lot of search warrants from judges, that's what you need. You need to say, here's my evidence. Here's why I think that there's a crime. I need a warrant to search for more evidence. And you either get it or you don't. And if you ever go in front of a judge and you don't have the goods, good luck ever getting something out of that judge again. So that's why before you go get a search warrant, you need to have your ducks in order. Last year, the Harris County Commissioners Court approved a $10.9 million community vaccine outreach contract with a vendor called Elevate Strategies. Elevate Strategies has links to the Democrat-linked law firm of Perkins Coie, Voter Participation Center, Everytown Gun Safety, and Community Justice Action Fund, but not much experience in the health sector, according to Just the News. So they're all wound up. Of course, does that remind you of anybody who maybe went to work for Burisma? You know, that got hooked up for a lot of money, even though they didn't have any experience in it. So this Democrat-linked law firm, they have all sorts of dealings with the Voter Participation Center. What does that sound like? Everytown Gun Safety. What does that sound like? And the Community Justice Action Fund. Man, we got a triple crown there, don't we? But they don't have much experience in the health sector. But they got this. The contract raised eyebrows and was eventually canceled. Good. Commissioner Jack Cagle, a Republican, had opposed the deal. It smelled from day one, Cagle said Friday, according to KHOU-TV. I trust that the Texas Rangers are going to do their due diligence to make sure what all the facts are and all the shenanigans. He said shenanigans. Hey, how about that? Shenanigans. There's some shenanigans with my shillelagh that went along with it. Ashley McFarland, Hidalgo goes. Did you ever see that movie Hidalgo? It was spelled differently. It's a great movie about a horse. Ashley McFarland, Hidalgo's personal lawyer, said the search was nothing but political theater since the devices would have been provided on request. Well, there's a reason. There is a reason that you get a search warrant for something rather than just asking for it. What's missing is any shred of evidence, but what's in abundance is politics. Yeah, that's what they all say. One commentator noted that more than politics must be involved. On one level, it certainly is a big deal because search warrants do not issue unless a magistrate concludes there has likely been a crime committed. That's right. The legal analyst Brian Weiss said, I think there are some eyes rolling and some heads shaking because this bid did not seem to be either economically sound or morally sound on multiple levels. The search will yield fodder for two Republicans, okay, blah, 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 blah. We don't care about the politics down there. I'm not getting into that. Time and time again, we see that Lena Hidalgo prioritizes political patronage over the interests of Harris County. Now, where have we heard that before? We've heard it of some Republicans. I'm not going to say that we haven't, but I tell you, this is business as usual for Democrats. I'm sorry for any Democrats that are watching this. If I hurt your feelings, I used to be a Democrat until I was shown the light and understood that this was the way that Democrats get things done. Okay. They go on, this is shameful behavior by our county judge. It shouldn't take subpoenas to force Linda Hidalgo to tell the truth about an $11 million contract given to a political crony. After months of withholding evidence while under criminal investigation, Lena Hidalgo's office is being raided by law enforcement, including Texas Rangers, and have seized boxes of documents and evidence on the Elevate Strategies case where Lena awarded an $11 million. Okay, that's kind of going. If the Rangers are involved, they are leading the investigation, and they will find out what's going on. This is promising. I mean, we know that there aren't any guarantees, but every time something like this happens, we need to feel good about it. And we just have to hope that this will set a precedence for others to do this. We know about all of the funny business. I won't use the word shenanigans again. All the funny business that's gone on with with this business, with what we're talking about here, and what put our current faux president in. So let's hope that this goes someplace and that we see some results. We're coming into an election season, so it's the prime time for all the Republicans who want to make a name for themselves and try to either get reelected or elected into an office, to stand up and act like they're strong, even though we know that most of them are going to crumble later. This is their chance to act like they all wish they would grow up to be. Okay, Texas Rangers. For those of you who are interested, there is that legend, and I'm sure that you've heard it. My battery is running low here. I don't need the laptop for this story. One riot, one ranger, right? I think that they even had this featured on one of Chuck Norris's Walker Texas Ranger shows. And I heard that they made him an honorary Texas Ranger. Well, good for him. I don't know him, but a lot of my good friends know him, and I hear he's a good guy. Okay. There's a story about a ranger. It's told different ways. All different ways by different people. One of the first time that I heard it was somebody told me, there was this riot at the Texas State Prison, and it was getting out of control, and they couldn't handle it, and all the corrections officers, they couldn't handle it, and the sheriff's department couldn't handle it, and you may have heard it differently, but there's all different manifestations of this. This is how I heard it, and so they finally got on and they called the Texas Rangers. And they waited, and pretty soon they looked out and they saw a dust trail coming down the road. They watched that dust trail, got closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden a car comes driving up to the prison and stops, all the dust billowing around the car, and out steps a single Texas Ranger. So the warden and everybody run out there, and they say, "Oh, thank goodness you're here." He says, "One of the others is going to get here," and the ranger, went, no others are coming. And they looked at him and said, "You got to be kidding me! They only sent one of you?" And he went again. Looked up at the prison and said, "Well, it's just one riot." Sounds great, right? Makes a good story. Sounds pretty tough. All the guys, starting out 21 years old, going through law enforcement in Texas and hoping to get someday onto the Texas Rangers, I'm sure that they loved that story. Only problem is it's not true. Where the story comes from. And many people have seen the statue that used to be in Love Field, Dallas Airport, of the lone Texas Ranger, and it says "One riot, one ranger." Well, I'll tell you something about that too. That was actually, what was his name? Bill McDonald was the guy's name. Okay, and it was supposed to represent him. Now, the story of the statue, maybe I should get into. No, I'll save that for a second because it's a story in itself. Bill McDonald was a Texas Ranger back in the early 1900s. I forget what year, and he was sent somewhere, and I also forget where exactly it was, to stop a prize fight, a boxing match. And he showed up and stopped it. And that's where the legend of one riot, one ranger comes in. There wasn't a riot. There was going to be a prize fight, which even then I disagree with. Why would that be illegal? I'm sure that law was made by the same people who passed prohibition, probably some church group. I was going to say church ladies group, but I had a bunch of aunts down in Texas who went to church all the time. They wouldn't have stood for that. Some social justice, politically correct before their time bunch that wanted to make prize fighting illegal. And so it was illegal. It was against the law. And so Bill McDonald from the Texas Rangers was sent, and he stopped the prize fight. I know that's a disappointment, and it's not what it was made out to be. But that's where the myth, the legend comes from. The interesting thing about the statue is it was meant to portray Bill McDonald, but it didn't. It was modeled after another guy whose name I don't remember, who took part in back in the 50s, and he took part in it was when integration was being forced. And I'm sorry, I could have looked this up, but I didn't think it was important. And it's not. Integration being forced in Texas because he stood by, and a couple of black students were going into a school. And, of course, all the locals were against it, just like happened in Little Rock and other places. And they were against it and were, giving the two black students a hard time. I mean, I think they even beat up the male. It must have been a male and a female, as I recall. And this other ranger and rangers didn't step in to stop it. Well, the thing is that their orders from the governor had not been to stop it, but to, I forget exactly what their orders were, but they were going by their orders. They were, and like I say, the Texas Rangers, serious and focused people. And as a result of people finding that out later, just a few years ago, that statue was modeled after, it didn't even stand for him, but it was modeled after him, stood for Bill McDonald, and a myth and a legend that never happened. All these people pushed for that to be taken out of Love Field in Dallas and taken somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I forget. I don't know if I ever knew where it went. Maybe it's standing next to Robert E. Lee's monument. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that is the real story about the One Riot, One Ranger, and that's what the Rangers are doing today. Interesting. I expect there's going to be more of this coming because there was a lot of shenanigans going on with people getting paid from this little thing that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years. So we'll keep our eye on that, see what happens. You all have a good day. Remember that America needs a reversion or more, and needs you to be a part of it, and it needs you to know what's going on. Keep your eye on the ball. Kind of pass this stuff on to your friends. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.